Hey everyone, it's Daphne from Scrap and Create, and we are working on Christmas time. And right now we're going to start on the inside liners, and this is what I've chosen. Both of these are from the Patterns and Solids, and then I'm going to use a contrast strip down the middle, also from the Patterns and Solids. And I'm going to repeat that on the back cover. Actually, it goes that way. So let's get started. I definitely have to ink and trim. And then once we get this in, then we're going to add our pages. Okay, let's see how we do, Nala. Okay, let's take a look. How do we do? I'm going to test it because I want to make sure it's clear of the hinge for the spine. Yes, that looks good. Check. For some reason that didn't cut straight. I'm going to straighten it out. Straighten it out. There we go. Okay, let's get some ink and get these glued down. And we're just going to repeat the process for the other side. Another warm day here in San Diego. Not quite as bad as it's been. And I was just overheard. My son's doing online school, so he's got a Zoom meeting going on right now, and I just overheard the teacher say the fires in our area are getting under control, so that's awesome because the air quality has been just horrific. Be nice if they could get those put out today and get some of that smoke and soot out of the air. It's so bad that when you go outside, you can taste it. It's so thick in the air. Okay, let's see. Okay, I think it's going to overlap a little. It is. So I'm going to put a strip across the center, like so. But I don't want these to overlap because I think it'll just have too much buildup. So I'm going to trim them. Actually, I'm gonna do this. We've done this before. I'm gonna attach these two together and then I'll put it in the trimmer and trim it down to 8 3/8. So I have a nice 1/16 inch border. So I'm just gonna join these two pieces. We've done this on other albums. It just makes it easier, I think, to trim it. Make sure you, I like to turn it over because I want to make sure I've got my orientation correct so I can see the patterns. And there we go. Now I can place this whole thing in the trimmer and take a little bit off the top. Or bottom, whichever you choose. Okay, let's see how we did. Looks good. Let's get some ink on that edge, lay it down. Now it's rigid because the backing is on the tape. As soon as I take that backing off, it's going to want to fold. So make sure you have a good handle on the two pieces and they don't fold over on each other, because you won't be able to release the tape. And I'll show you what I mean right now. Let's burnish this and then we'll get the back off. Now see how easy it wants to fold, so make sure you're hanging on to both sides so it doesn't collapse on itself and the tape, you know, grabs the other side and makes a mess of things. Also, make sure you get plenty of glue on the tape, so when you lay it down, you've got an opportunity to torque it into place, because the tape is going to want to grab if it's not covered with glue. There we go. And then we've got this last strip here, and we're just going to trim it down to fit. Let's see how we did. Okay, looks good. So I think I'm gonna go, yeah, pretty much centered, but I'm just looking at it visually, what's interesting. Remember, you're really not gonna see both sides at the same time because you're gonna have all your pages laid in. So approximation is good enough. But if you don't feel comfortable with that, you know, you can also figure out what your middle point is top to bottom, and then your middle point on your strip, and marry up those two spots. You'll be all set. Okay, moving right along. And then after this, we're going to install our pages. And then we are going to decorate the cover. And for all those fussy cut lovers, it's got a lot of fussy cutting on it. So be prepared. And I'm actually using the signature page in the collection, and I'm fussy cutting from that, but you'll see that shortly. I like it. It's turning out. I struggled with the cover because the signature page itself, the scale wasn't quite right, so I found a way to work around that, and I'm pretty happy with the results. There we go. Doesn't that look nice? And then, you know, you can easily put a couple of photos on the inside here, like so, or even one up, one down, and maybe a little journaling card. You've got plenty of space for photos on this inside liner. Okay, so that was easy. We're going to repeat that process. The reason I like to mark the inside panels is because we measured out our chipboard, but we wrapped it, and the wrapping itself makes the chipboard a little bit bigger than what we measured. And it also, if it's not square, here's, you know, where it's going to show up on these inside mats. That's why I like to do these marks, because I can visually make it appear square even if the cover is slightly out of square. If it's not quite right angles. And that's an easy thing. I mean, it happens. It's a very easy thing to make happen because of the joins and the chipboard. So what I found, rather than stressing out if I'm off a 32nd of an inch or whatever, instead of stressing about the book not being square, I can just make it appear square by slightly adjusting these, the designer paper as it goes in. And generally speaking, I'm very happy with the results that way. I used to get really frustrated not being able to get a true right angle on some of the covers, but I'm over it now. You could drive yourself crazy with that stuff. And honestly, the only person that's going to notice is you. Okay, I'm going to trim that. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do, I'm going to move this. Well, I want to dry fit that one more time. Looks good. And I'm going to see if they're both the same. They're slightly off. That should do it. That's so strange. Oh, that's close, but it's not quite perfect. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach them, and then if I need to trim, I'll do it as a unit. Okay, that looks good. So let's get our tape. We're going to join these and then trim a little off the top. Dry fit it one more time and go ahead and lay it in. Okay. Now, if your papers are not perfectly even, first of all, make every effort to do that. But if they're not, the edge that you want to be very straight is the outside edge. Your eye will always be drawn to the outside edge of the paper of the book, not toward the spine. So if you have any variation, push it in toward the spine. So I know this is the outside edge, so I'm going to line these two up perfectly. And then if they're not even, I'm going to try to trim them even. But actually it turned out even. So that's very good. Now we're going to ink everything. And, well, I don't need to ink that because I'm going to trim it. I should trim it first. Oh, it isn't perfectly even, is it? Just a second. Okay, let's pull it in and dry fit it. Okay. Now we'll ink it. Okay, here we go. Let me get this in and then add our contrast strip and we'll be done with this. Then I'm going to pause for a second, organize my pages, make sure I've got them in the right order. This is your last chance before you install them, and make sure they're all excuse me, in the right orientation, and that they're in the right order, both. Okay, remember what I said about being careful that it doesn't fold over on itself, because that tape is very flexible and it wants to collapse over on itself once you take the backing off, so be careful. There we go. Nice. We're making progress. Let's burnish this into place. And I've mentioned this before, but this Teflon bone folder, I really love it. I don't really use it to score. I'm still a real big fan of this stylus, which I don't really know what they call this, but that's what I'm calling it. To do my score lines with, I think it just makes a crisper score. But I love the Teflon bone folder for burnishing things, because I'll show you. So here's what it sounds like. Here's what this sounds like. That noise drives me crazy. It's almost like chalkboard, fingernails on chalkboard to me. So when I found this Teflon, I was like, oh, that is so nice. And it doesn't leave Mars on your paper either. So, okay, there we are. I am gonna pause this for a minute, get everything organized, and then we will install the pages. Hey everyone, we're ready to do the page installation. I put them in order, made sure they're all right side up. So we're gonna start, I'm gonna start on the first page and work my way back in the book. And I'm gonna set these up here. Actually, no, I'm gonna set them over here, so they're not in my way. And I'm gonna get some of this stuff. Oh, look here. I forgot to put the contrast strip in. Let's do that real quick. And then I'll get back to installing the pages. Silly me. Let's see. Perfect. Okay. Let's ink it and get it glued down. And I think I am going to take a quick break, finish my coffee, go check in on my son, see how his class is going. This online school stuff, I have to kind of stay on top of him or he gets wound up with his telephone. Okay, there we go. It looks like I'm a little lower on this side, but like I said, it doesn't really matter because you're gonna have pages laying in here. Yeah, I probably should have gone up a little further, but I'm okay with that because like I said, the pages are gonna lay in, you're not even gonna notice. Okay, I'll be back in a bit. Okay, everybody, I'm back. And Sam's got his class behind him now, so hopefully I've got a few minutes before I need to jump up and do something. Okay, we're gonna put our pages in, and offline I put all my pages in order and verified that they're all going in the right direction, and now we're gonna do the installation. So I like to slip my pocket page on and then reach in with my my hook and pull the tape out. I just find I get the best results with that, but you guys can do it any way you like. Some people like to take part of the tape off and then pull the rest out as they go. So while I'm holding it in place, what I'm looking for is even borders. I don't want it to look like that or drift down. I'm looking for it to be, you know, a pretty straight line. Last chance before I press it into place. There we go. Now once you have the one side in, the second side, you know, you don't have to stress because it's already attached on one side. Okay. There we go. Okay, and here's page 2. It's easy for me to tell that these go together because I like to repeat the patterns across the 2-page spread. Oops. There we go. I'm gonna have to take a break. I can hear my husband and son doing something. I need to go see if he needs some help. So the next couple of weeks, while we're getting used to doing school online, I think I'm gonna be very interrupt driven. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. They were just having a discussion. I thought he was stuck on something, but he's good. And so that means I can come back and get a few more things done. And I know you guys are seeing the top of my head, and I apologize, but I need to see if I'm getting the page in square. Come on. There we go. Lovely, lovely. Okay, we've got a couple more to go. Okay, it's our third page. And see how crooked this one is? So what this tells me, well, let me try to get it in straight first. What this tells me is that when I put my hinge in, it went slightly askew, but that's why we lay our pages in like this, because this is our opportunity to adjust how the page fits onto the hinge and try to get it to visually straighten up. By just making minor adjustments. It's very hard to get your hinge in perfectly straight. It's easier to try to straighten out your pages. So I can see that my tape is going to stick out a little past the page, and that I don't like it when that happens, but it does happen occasionally. When it does, if you take a little bit of powder, you can get the adhesion to release so that other things don't get stuck in it. And somebody, another crafter gave me that tip once before. So a little bit of powder. I don't happen to have any talcum powder around anymore, but I'm sure flour would work as well. And a little dusting of that, and it will take the tack off the tape. So, and I know some people will use a 1/4 inch tape on the 1/2 inch hinge for that reason, because then there's no chance of it sticking out past the page. No chance of any tape being revealed down here. So that's another way to work around it. I didn't happen to have any 1/4 inch tape, but I think I might try that on my next book. Somebody else had told me that. Oh, you know who it was? It was Ginger Rop. And I'm sure if you're a mini album maker, you've heard of her. She's such a sweetheart. I had just seen a video from her the other day. It was her birthday. And they were doing a craft hop, blog hop. Her and some other pretty well-known. Kathy Clement is another well-known designer in the space. Okay, that's it. We've got all our pages in. Okay, now I think I'm going to do something here. I had designed this to go on here, and after I looked at it, I think that's too much checker. So I'm going to scale this down a little bit, and I am going to attach something to the cover because it just looks like it needs something here. I just don't know what yet. So I'm going to work on that, and you'll see that in the walkthrough. And if I do apply something here, I will give you the measurements so that if you want to do the same thing, you can. But that's pretty much the page design. Now we're ready to move on to decorating the cover. Okay, I think I'm gonna separate these two videos because this is getting kind of long. So that was my inside liners and the page installation, and then I think I'm gonna have a separate video for the cover. Not quite sure yet. I'm gonna see how long this video is after I get it edited. Okay, thanks everybody for tuning in. This is Daphne from Scrap and Create. If you have not already, please hit the like and subscribe, and you'll be notified of future content on our channel. We try to get something out a couple of times a month. Following this is going to be the brand new Ephemera Queen from Graphic 45. It'll be an 8.5 by 8.5 mini album. That's going to be following Christmas time, so be sure to stay tuned in. We'll see you soon.